Ho ho buddies, welcome to Borderline Games. I'm Gareth and today we're playing Chaos Head. Last time we were in the hospital room of Ayase Kishimoto and we noticed that a very familiar man came and bringing fruits. A large basket filled with all manner of fruits. It's the police station. It is the prodigy himself. What is his name? I think it's Suma. Is that right? Is his name Suma? His name is... It's not Ban. It is... Mamoru? Suwa, not Suma, Suwa. Alright. And he is visiting Ayase, and as we've already established, she's in hospital from trying to jump off the top of the school. So what is he here? What's his main goal? Is there more to Suwa than meets the eye? Let's find out now. That someone was but a single man. He had come bringing gifts, namely a large basket filled with all manner of fruits. Oh, she doesn't seem happy that he's there. She could recognise the man, which was far from a good sign. Thus she stared at him with a dubious glare. Hi there. Oh, no need to be on the edge. On edge? You know, I know who you are. The man was a detective at the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department. He had once shadowed Ayase, as she was originally a suspect for the New Gen case. The detective, relieved by her response, scratched his head. His demeanour was unendingly casual. Oh, wow, that's an ego boost. I'm so glad that such a pretty lady like you remembers little old me. Remember, Suwa, that she's in school, so, you know, less on the compliments. You have a real good memory, huh? I'm impressed. The detective moved closer to her bed. Ayase briefly glanced at her D-sword, leaning against the window. It lay just outside her reach. I just dropped by to check up on you. I do not believe you. What is your objective? Yikes. Talk about straight to the point. The detective flinched very overtly, his reaction perhaps bordering on theatrical. Well, I just had a little something to ask you, Ayase-chan. Ah, right. I brought this. If you're up to it, you should really eat. The detective smiled innocently, presented the basket he'd brought with him, then placed it at Ayase's feet without waiting for approval. They're super tasty. And expensive too. Boo-hoo-hoo. What do you mean by that? What's that boo-hoo-hoo made of? Is he, like, feigning crying? I do not want it. Oh, come on. Let a guy show you some hospitality. I bought them just for you, you know. Well, I don't mind if you leave them for when your mum visits. She can cut up a few slices for you then. Oh, shoot. It's been years since you last saw your parents, hasn't it? Ayase-chan. Seems like a deliberate dig. Despite the detective's insensitive remark, Ayase felt nothing in response to it. Her ties to her parents had been cut from a very young age. Her parents had a reputation to uphold, so a child that often caused problems like Ayase had been inconvenient to them, to say the least. Her only remaining contact with them was the wire transfer she received for her living expenses each month, though it could hardly be called that. I'm really sorry. The detective apologized, bowing down hastily. You know, I like this Suwa less and less every time I see him recently. I'm not sure what it is, there's just something a bit off with him. Ayase had only just gotten over the shock caused by her flashback, so she was in no mood to speak with him. Nonetheless, she urged herself to talk all the same. What is it you wanted to ask? Do you wish for an alibi? Oh? Not at all. We've already talked enough about that. No, I'm happy to announce that you're no longer considered a suspect, Yase-chan. You're totally in the clear, I promise. Have you learned of their motive? The culprits? Sorry, but I can't tell you that. It's a confidential part of the investigation. Is it Takumi? Can't confirm or deny. The detective smirked. He was attempting to laugh the question away. And yet something unrefined could be seen through the cracks of that smile. That said, Nishijiro-kun sure is a weird kid, isn't he? You wouldn't really suspect him of being the killer based on how he looks. If he really is the culprit, then he's way too good at hiding his true nature. The guy would have to be a demon to be that good. Is he still a suspect? Nah, not really. The detective casually denied it with a smile, putting Yase's persistent questions to rest. Oh, you didn't hear that from me, though. My supervisors will get real mad if they find out that I leaked any info. Not that I would blame them. Besides, I only just got off the hot seat with my superior. I think you met him once before. You remember him, Ayase-chan? Ban-san. The detective with the scruffy black hair and the stubble. Ayase did remember him. When she'd been questioned, that older detective had been even more talkative than the younger one she was conversing with now. His way of speaking had been a lot more assertive as well. He's always pretty quick to yell at me. I swear, I can't go one shift without him calling me a schmuck. It's not the worst thing he could be called. Though I don't know why I'm the schmuck when he's the one going off on these wild goose chases instead of just investigating what we were assigned to do. And as the sweet cherry on top, he's been forcing me to go along with him for all of it. Feels like I'm going to lose my mind if this keeps up. Well, I'm sure he's a good guy at heart. And his intuition is razor sharp. From what I heard, he's had to lead some pretty difficult cases in the past. So that's probably why he's turned so hard-boiled. Is this what you wish to talk about? Why you came here? Ayase interrupted the man, and his smile quickly soured. Oh, sorry. I got a little sidetracked. Please keep everything I told you a secret. Do this, and I, Sua Mamoru, will be indebted to you for the rest of my life. So? For starters. Why'd you do it? Despite his ambiguous phrasing, Ayase could tell that he was referring to her diving off the school rooftop. I already explained why several times, to the other detective. To avert the resurrection of the wicked-hearted king. Gladiole. Right? I did not do it with the intention to die. I did it merely to ascend my spirit to a higher stage. You said something similar about your songs too, yeah? The ones that are pretty popular with kids your age. And that was the second question he had for her. Ayase let out a faint sigh. Those lyrics were not about New Gen in the slightest. I merely wrote them based on the Gladiole Book of Psalms and Revelation, chapter 3, verse 102. The arrival of the wicked-hearted King Gladiole is nigh. This world shall soon know his presence. Only with 7 stakes forged in blackened blood, shed by Gladiole himself, may his resurrection be averted. The stakes shall be reforged into swords, and the swords shall be bestowed upon the 7 black knights who withstood divine punishment itself. An eye for an eye, A tooth for a tooth. For only mortals burdened with wicked hearts may overthrow the wicked-hearted king. Wow, that sounds like something straight out of a movie. I love me a crazy epic storyline like that. Ayase glared at the detective in response to his comment. It is not some sort of storyline. It is reality. Well then, I've got one more question for you. The detective casually brushed away Ayase's objection, though she was all too used to this form of dismissal by now. Not a single person she'd told this story to thus far had believed it. You know, we've investigated a whole lot of other students at Sumai, other than you and Nishijo-kun and... well... The detective mumbled to himself as he folded his arms. This was very obviously another act of theatrics, and Ayase had no intention of commenting on it. What is it? Well, this is going to sound a little crazy. And it's not something a detective should be asking, really. And it's kind of childish, if I'm being honest. I see. If you do not intend to ask me something, then take your leave. My head hurts. Oh, okay, wait. What I was trying to say is, Ban-san said something really weird once. That you guys must be wizards or something. Upon hearing that the subject... oh, I see. Upon hearing that the subject of that remark was plural, Ayase raised her eyebrows in suspicion. That's obviously not true, right? We are. As she replied, Ayase's line of sight was directed not toward the man, but toward her hand that lay atop her bedsheets. You're a very interesting girl, Ayase-chan. But... New Gen is wholly unrelated to the Knights of Gladiol. Gotcha. Well, not that it really matters either way. The detective, completely disinterested in what Yase had just said, brushed off her words once again, then began to stretch. The moment he did so, a digital sound suddenly cut through the silence of the room. The detective, surprised by this interruption, reached into the pocket of his suit and took out his cell phone. His cell phone. Oh, jeez. Cell phones aren't allowed in here, huh? Shoot, I must have forgot to power it off. Or turn it off. Say power it off. Oh man, it looks like a certain girl's calling me. It's my lovely girlfriend. We've been together for 4 years now. Can you believe it? He turned his phone off with a grin, forcing his caller to hang up. He then turned to Ayase once more. Are you a movie buff, Ayase-chan? Ever heard of Spark Wars? My ringtone's the Count Darth Spider theme from the movie, aka the thing you just heard. Now that's interesting, because as we know, we saw Darth Spider, when I didn't know what it was, on the roof of the tower that Takumi was going to jump off of when he was trying to get his sword. Or we thought he was going to jump off of from an audience's perspective. And by which I mean everyone down below. He was actually trying to get his sword. His D-sword. Why would he have a... I guess maybe it's a coincidence, but we've not seen anyone else mention it. Ayase had no interest in movies, nor anything of the sort. Having long since decided that she had no obligation to further entertain the detective's questioning, she returned to gazing silently outside the window. To be honest, I'm kind of a Spark Wars superfan. Uh-oh. He was on the roof. Oh, but judging from that that, you're probably not interested, sorry. Well, guess I'll get out of your hair now. See ya. Get the fuck out of here. With that, the detective concluded the conversation with which he had no partner, then left the hospital room. Ayase did not even turn around to watch him go. With the man gone, all that reflected in her eyes was the twilight sky slowly turning indigo. Yeah, you big dum-dum. I've been waiting for so long. Just waiting for you. I absolutely hate you, but darn it, I love you too. Saratan-chan. I stared in a daze at... it is Saratan. At Saratan as she moved around the monitor. The final episode of Blood Tune had aired deep into last night. The story was gradually getting more and more intense, and the ep had received particularly high praise on our channel. This was the third time I'd seen it, but none of it was really sticking with me. I checked the time and saw that it was past 10 PM. Rimi had left at around 8. While she'd been here, she'd encouraged my depressed self in many ways. And she'd said so many nice things to me, thanks to her being by my side. I'd felt less lonely today than the entire week prior. That being said, Rimi still wasn't taking the situation all that seriously. It felt almost like she was avoiding talking about New Gen entirely. Maybe she was just done with it. Done with me. Her friend had been hurt in the earthquake, and it sounded like she already had a lot on her plate with just that. She probably just didn't have any room left to bother with me and my problems. But the issue with that was... while yes, I was probably way too paranoid, there was no doubt that this was a genuinely dangerous situation. I could be killed today, even. Shogun had been coming after me all this time. Persistent didn't even begin to cover it. If I could just understand what he was doing or why he was doing it, then I could work out some countermeasures. By the waysies, the homeless man told Kazupi a thing or two before he left. And the most special among you is the boy who birthed whose eyes are those eyes. Whose eyes are those eyes? You could hear those words all over Shibuya by now. On the net, it becomes synonymous with the culprit. It was a phrase I'd used pretty often for a really long time. It was without a doubt a message from Shogun who knew that. Either that or an intentional way of provoking me. When had I first started using that phrase? It felt like someone had taught it to me. I vaguely remembered the first time I'd used it. It was an essay I'd written back in elementary school. The title was that very same phrase. Whose eyes are those eyes? I'd almost completely forgotten what I'd actually written in it. I wanted to check now. What had I written in that essay? It was probably stored at my parents' house. Though, I had a feeling they might have thrown the old thing away by now. Then again, when it came to things that were pretty important to me as a kid, I did have a habit of storing them in a big empty candy tin I'd used to call my treasure box. The essay could potentially have been in there. What to do? Should I go to my parents? But... I didn't want to show my face to Nanami. I wouldn't know what to say. I really am a useless piece of shit. " 」 « « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « 」 « I sluggishly rose from my seat, then collapsed onto the sofa. Kia! Why are you here? What? Who is this? You've got it all wrong. It's not like soba from the street vendors is my favourite food or nothing. What do you think you're grinning at, you big dum-dum? Oh, you've got me real mad now. Howl! Samurai condenser! Is that just Sarah-tan? Lying face up, I gazed at the ceiling while ignoring Sarah's protesting. That dreary, bare steel ceiling. Unlike my room at my parents' house, there wasn't a single groove in the ceiling that looked like a person's face. Suddenly, in the corner of my vision, I noticed a familiar tin sitting by the Eroge packages, piled up on my loft bed. Is that actually my essay? Is that? I hurriedly stood up and climbed the ladder to get a closer look. It was a reddish-brown, rectangular tin, about the size of a B5 piece of paper. The word shortbread was written on the lid in white letters. There was no mistaking it. It was my treasure box. I must have brought it from my parents' place. Though I definitely didn't remember doing so. GG me. Always thinking ahead. I quickly grabbed the tin and opened the lid. Inside were a few test answer sheets, essays, scraps of paper, torn out from sketchbooks, and so on and so forth. It was mostly all paper, but there was still a couple small objects in there. I took all the pages from the tin at once and began flipping through them for my target. It didn't take too long to find. After all, it was the very top. It was at the very top. There it is. The essay paper had faded in colour. The handwriting. Not even a mother could call it good. Not that bad. Could this essay be hiding some kind of important secret? Something Shogun was particularly exploiting? Something that had to do with why the homeless man had referred to me as the most special? With a gulp, I began to read it one word at a time, being careful not to overlook anything. Whose eyes are those eyes? Nishijo Takumi, Class 4-3. I dream a lot. In my dreams, older me visits me in a time machine. He doesn't look like me at all. His time machine has a lot of buttons. I think if you push one, a shower or some shampoo or something comes out. I asked older me how it works, and he said you could go see dinosaurs or even go back to when cavemen were around. He asked me what I'm bad at in school, and I said I'm bad at math. He told me there was a switch that would make me really good at math. I tried to push it once, but he got mad. He said I had to work hard and get better by myself. That was the only time he got mad at me. After he stopped being mad, he was super nice. So I was happy. He told me about the girl I was going to marry. That's a secret. I asked him about God. He told me God is real. I think he's real too. My mum said God is always watching, and he'll make you go to hell if you do bad things. So I can absolutely never do bad things. I have to be nice to my little sister too. Mum told me God doesn't want you to do bad things, but that it's a scary man instead. Okay, why would you tell a child that? The scary man is the whose eyes are those eyes monster. He makes you go to hell if he sees you. God's eyes and whose eyes are those eyes are in the sky. The ceiling. The walls. And there's a lot of them in my school, and they're watching me no matter what. So I think I have to do a lot of good things like studying and other stuff because of that. It's embarrassing though, because they watch me even when I do things like go to the toilet or take a bath. Also, ever since I was little I could close my eyes and dream sometimes even though I wasn't sleeping. It was like the inside of my head was like a video game or a manga. But when I do that, the Whose Eyes Are Those Eyes monster comes out, so I don't want to do that. I asked my mum and she told me not to do it. But while I'm writing this essay, I asked older me in my dreams to tell me more about the time machine, but he said I knew everything. He wouldn't tell me more stuff because I'm just a kid. So from now on, I want to do lots of good things, so I can beat Whose Eyes Are Those Eyes. The end. That's interesting. So do we think that Takumi came back to see him as a kid? From the future? None of this makes any sense. This would have been around the time when I'd first started feeling God's gaze. Maybe I was going through some sort of phase back then. Either way, trying to understand anything from this extremely cryptic essay was beyond impossible. It felt like it'd be easier to decipher a bunch of hieroglyphs than it would be trying to figure out what the hell I'd been talking about. As I thought that, I noticed that something was scribbled on the back of my page, or on the back of the page. Come to think of it, hadn't I loved doodling back then? Oh, it's going to be someone in a wheelchair. Yeah, like in my social studies textbooks, the pictures of historic figures would always have moustaches or sunglasses drawn on them, and my notebooks would always have flipbook-esque animations drawn in the corners. Back then, I started enjoying drawing more and more, to the point where I'd even gone to my parents to buy me a sketchbook. Although, to clarify, it wasn't like my drawings were anything to write home about. Immersing myself in nostalgia, I turned the essay over to check out what I'd scribbled on it. Oh. What the fuck is that? It was an incomprehensible drawing. IR2. But while it was definitely incomprehensible, there was still something familiar about it. Something I'd seen recently. IR2. Whether it was a mathematical formula, had some kind of meaning, or was just a meaningless string of numbers and letters. I had no idea. But... oh! Oh my god! This formula. It was the exact same one Shogun had posted out of nowhere back when he'd first come in contact with me in the chat room. Oh my god, okay, cool. Whose eyes are those eyes? And IR2. Two key things that had come from the essay I'd written many years ago, things that even I myself had forgotten. So, no question now. This has to either be Takumi or someone that had access to this paper. And if Shogun knew them, that would mean that he'd been reading my mind after all. Wow, okay. Terrifying. Within the Freesia reception room, or rather the narrow space partitioned off by a few shelves being used as one, Ban sat deep in concentration, scanning through a number of files. Opposite to him sat Yua, huddled up and making herself small. She'd been taking frequent glances at Ban in an attempt to read his expression. From an outsider's perspective, it appeared almost like a child showing their parent their report card. Ban was currently reading the report of everything Yua had investigated concerning the new gen cases and Nishijoa Takumi. It also included the chat log between Takumi and Shogun, quote unquote, from the day prior to the crucifixion case. As a result of her findings, Yua had concluded that Takumi was undoubtedly the true culprit behind the new gen cases. This is quite something. Did you investigate all of this on your own? Yes, more or less. Yua hung her head apologetically in response to Momose's praise. She stared at the Giro Froggy straps hanging from the bag below her feet. She was speaking with a detective and the boss of an investigation firm. In terms of investigating, they were so professional. They were as professional as one could get. Compared to their prowess, information gathered by the investigation of an ordinary high school girl would be akin to childish scribblings. And yet, despite the supposed gap, Ban and Momose found themselves both impressed by the quality of the report.
You have a good eye for this. Pretty well researched. This part about Nashiju Takumi having more than one personality is particularly interesting. Nishiju Takumi has multiple personalities. When the original Nishiju Takumi goes to sleep, what is essentially another personality becomes active and has been perpetrating the murders. A pretty interesting idea, all in all. But, well, it might be just a skosh too unrealistic.
Excuse me, but, Detective, do you really not think that Nishijo-kun is the culprit?
Should I just lay it all out?
Her face stiffened, but after a moment Yua nodded.
In our eyes, the police's eyes, Nishiju Takumi is not a suspect.
Oh? Is that so? Not just Yua, but Momose gasped in amazement as well. A wry smile formed on Ban's lips. He leaned back in his seat and rested the back of his head in his hands.
Or at the very least, Nishiju's innocence is in regards to the crucifixion case. The stakes that crucified the body had fingerprints on them. We got Nishiju's fingerprints and tried comparing them, but they didn't match up one bit.
That can't be. And we'll find out what else can't be next time on Borderline Games. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Chaos Head, and I will see you next time. Have a great evening. Take care of yourselves. Bye bye. Bye bye bye.